reality, like same, but they are comparing it. They are describing it in a different, but they are not inquiring about the fundamental question like idea of truth or reality or universe, but they are doing a normative research. And the third, that is based on the observation, empirical research. That is maybe the survey method, archival method, or experimental method are the part of this empirical research. Science students are taking experimental method in laboratories. Social science and humanities are taking archival method and this survey method or data sampling. So these are the components I would like to tell you in detail, just in brief. See the components of research design: theoretical, comparative, historical, mixed method, applied, and case study. These are the components of research design, because you can design your research on the basis of case study or a historical, dealing with the historical contents, or comparative, you are comparing one with another, establishing relation of more purely the theoretical one. Or mixed method means you can use case study plus historical. So these are the components of research design. Now I will tell you something about see, this is the particularly I have made it what I understand research, how you will follow the process to frame research design. See what I have done. Every single teacher, scholars will tell you, oh, you do one thing, formulate question, raise question. But I believe you will not dream it. The research question will not come in your dream. There is a mechanism to do it. If you see the identification of research problem. If there is no problem you find, means if there is no problem you have identified, you will not able to make research more scientific and authentic. So the first stage to make a research design is to identify the research problem. If there is no problem, you cannot proceed further with the result. The same as the doctor, if they are not able to understand what is the problem with this Maris, how they will give the prescriptions. If they knows, they will give it. Same as a historian, social scientists, the students, scholars of humanities and sciences, they do the same experiment. Because if you are, if you have identified problem, there is a mechanism to identify the problem. When you identify it, then you will ask the research question on the basis of this identified problem. For example, Saeed Amin. I am just giving, I am not follower of Saeed Amin, but he has written one book on Chauri Chaura, that incident, one small, right? He has identified one problem in his book. That everyone is writing Chauri Chaura, just 2 lines, and everyone is talking about, yeah, it is, spontaneous, mob started killing and burning the stations. He started revisiting, but I am not going into that detail. But the problem he identified, he started revisiting, and he found that no, this is not planned. This is planned, not unplanned. So that concern, many different things. Just I have given you that. So identification of research problem is as crucial as many people are thinking. Okay, we have to just think research question. No. You will formulate, you will raise the research question on the basis of identified research problem. Now you have to think about the step that now you have identified the problem, you have raised the question. Now after raising questions, what you will do? You have to find the answers. To finding answer, what you will do? Review of literature. To find the answer. An answer of your research question, and this research question has that problem. That is why you are looking into this review of literature. So the primary task of reviewing literature is 2 things. Number 1, what is written over there, and number 2, you are reviewing the literature to locate the research gap. I don't think you are, you will understand it, what is the research gap. How you will, locate there is no identifying research gap. There is no formulation of research gap. But the locating, you have to locate through the review of literature. So this is the primary task, to deal with this question, and then we were locating the research gap. On the basis of this research gap, you will able to formulate the hypothesis. Because why? Because now you are claiming that I have located this research gap, and this research gap will give you the validity to formulate the hypothesis. What is hypothesis? It's a question. I will come later. I mean, in 5 minutes I will tell you. But after locating research gap, there is a formulation of hypothesis based on maybe hypothesis. There are different types of hypothesis: causal hypothesis, comparative hypothesis, different null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. I am not going into detail, but this is important. The formulation of hypothesis, you will prove the established between independent and dependent variables. After formulating hypothesis, now your task is to go and collect data collection and sampling. And when we are talking about data collection, it is a process to collect primary accounts for your research. And after this data collection and sampling, you will do the data analysis and visualization. Visualization, you are making graph out of analyzing the data, and then the report writing. Report writing in something you are answering the question, the research question. You are establishing the relation between the variables. So this is report writing is one of the crucial, important, the part of research. And the discussion and recommendation. This is also primary. Discussion is something, not conclusion, but discussion is something you are validating your research through proving the primary accounts. And recommendation for future policy makers, to educators, to academia, to big, the scholars. So this recommendation is very important to know about the validity and reliability of the research. So in that area, so I will not take time because already slowly I will see this experimental archive and survey. When you are going to data collection method, how you will collect data? There are different ways. I told you experimental, maybe quantitative means statistics is there, experimental laboratory is there, archival, historians, sociologists, part of social sciences, research scholars are taking archival and survey method research. So you see, whenever you are thinking about what should you do, you will see this archival and survey method is one of the primary thing. For the data sampling also, I have just make you that that when you are doing data sampling, there are different data sampling method also. Some in using stratified data sampling and systematic data sampling. Another is using cluster depth. If there is a north, south, east, west division, then we will put this cluster, systematic and stratified. More or less, we are using this systematic and stratified sampling, right? So these are the the process. Because due to the I thought that I would take up 55 minutes fundamental research, but I will not do this. And now the next is, I am really sorry because I thought that I would give you the pure fundamental research design. But see, last but not least, this the process of data. When you collected data are not error free. You have to make it error free. Data, like you have to do the data cleaning. Then after cleaning it, after making it error free, then you will analyze the data. And when you will analyze data, then you have to visualize the data too, through graphs, through tables, whatever you have to do, and you have to visualize the data. And but one more thing that I don't know, we all have to be concerned about is the ethical consideration. Only changing, what is plagiarism, I believe, not only changing paragraph you out of this plagiarized world, but if you are copy pasting ideas is a plagiarism. Even iAuthenticator Turnitin will not measure this kind of plagiarism. And I believe 90% thesis research are plagiarized if you will talk in sense of ideas. More or less, if but yeah, there are many different opinion on it. But how technology can measure this? Because I can prove it. I am not going into that debate, but there are mechanisms to reduce plagiarism. Just you are paraphrasing, the sentences, and the plagiarism is less. But apart from this, the ethical consideration, there is informed consent. When you are going to the area, collecting data, you have to make sure that there is informed consent, confidentiality, even they have right to withdraw. There, the participation. And third, when you are writing anything, taking anything, you have to cite, you have to take references. And yeah, these are the, these I have talked to you about this report writing and discussing. Finally, what I am trying to tell you in the conclusion of this particular topic, the fundamentals of research design, you have to make it sure that you have aware about this paradigm shift. You have to know about the types of research, methods of data collections, types of hypothesis, variables you have to know about, how you will, collect data, and there are the process, scientific and critical research. You have to also now start thinking about, is there any difference between scientific research and critical research, or both are same? Now many research institutions started working on critical research, challenging scientific research, challenging the method of scientific research, and they are objecting over it. So these are the debates, what is the part and parcel of method and methodology in research. So I would not take much time. I am ending the session because time is over. So thank you so much for coming and participating in this workshop. And so I think I should end here my lecture.
Yes, Dr. Jitu, you have explained research methodology and steps of research in details. But I am wondering whether you apply this kind of steps in the research of your subject or not, because it is the general conception, and we always, as sociologists, we always follow these steps, steps of research, and you have very nicely explained about everything. So another thing, I am very much thankful to you that in spite of your organizing capability and in spite of your organization, and you whole day you are organizing, and not only from today but since last 6 months you are organizing this. So in spite of that, you have also presented one paper on research method. So you are really great, So, but anything, I want to say that whether you apply this kind of research steps in your research related to history.
I mean, ma'am, I commented, but my teacher may have their different view, because I am speaking, I am a little bit, nervous also, because my teachers are here who taught me. But I can tell you one thing, that academia is something as a diverse, understanding, and different school of, you can say, writing. Different themes and perspectives are there. There is not only, you cannot, when we are looking into the universality of truth, that has to be questioned. So I think we have to be critical, and we have to be rationally inquire about the fact. Yes, sir.
Yeah. May I ask a question? One thing, it is kind of fundamental, because you in your presentation, thank you for the presentation first of all. In your presentation you have mentioned that when you are choosing a topic, or when you are looking for a discussion or something like that, you should not be biased. So my first question is it possible to not become biased while choosing a topic? That is the first thing. The second thing, I think slide number 13 or something like that, where you have mentioned that first you find out the research gap, then you form the hypothesis, then you search for data. Now in this methodology, don't you think that if you follow this methodology, you will end up losing several data which will come in front of you, but you cannot look at it because you have already a mindset, you have already a framework in your mind. So in a way, it should, I think it is my, I think in a way it should be that first you find out the gap and then you search for data different sources. If you, different source in archive, whatever you are working on, whether it is sociology, whether it is history, whatever subject you are working on, you look at that sources, and on the basis of that source, you form your methodological understanding and hypothesis, not the other way around. Is it not true? And the third thing, the third thing is that you are talking about that most of the ideas, most of the theses in India or elsewhere, it is kind of plagiarized. But first of all, Authenticate or Turnitin, these are not plagiarism checking software, these are similarity checking software. That is the first thing. The second thing is that since if you talk about if you talk about a framework which is already given, if I implement that framework, let's say for instance, there is a famous article called Our Modernity by Partha Chatterjee. That basic article, the argument of the basic argument is that there is an alternative form of modernity, right? Our modernity is there, so there is several form of modernity. Now, that type of work has already been done in elsewhere, but Partha Chatterjee has implemented it in Bengal context. So, is it plagiarized or is it not? So, thank you so much. Sorry for...
No, I am wonderful questions. Very difficult.
See, I am very happy with the presentation. It's very sophisticated. I am not capable of you gave the instance of Shadi. And the picture one got is of someone who's totally clear. He has his ideas. He looks at the gaps in the literature. He goes into the archive. He finds these gaps. He fills them and writes his book. But he has been working on newspapers actually for 30 years before. Long. And for history, I can't speak of any other history. History is a description which thrives on description. But it's a description which contains within itself an explanation. That is why historians are very bad at theory. I'm sorry, all the great men who have been included. They will never be named among the greatest theoreticians. That will be Plato, Aristotle, etc. They have very good conceptual thinkers. I'm not suggesting they are. But the really work which stands out of historians is where they give you a narrative. The narrative contains within itself an explanation. Now to go to Chauri Chawla. He uses all of these records. He shows these people came together and their fate after it and what happened. So, I'm just wondering, this looks a little neat. There's supposed some discovery, excitement, thrill, that should also be. And I'm very worried by the repeated use of data. You see, this word data is fine in statistics. I have no problem. Even in economics, I'm not sure it's fine. I assure you it is not fine in mathematics, it's fine in statistics. Mathematics is not statistics. Data is interpreted as information. This is true even in sociology. So this use of the word data is a little dangerous. This data point, it is not data. And finally, why does one have to give a recommendation in this study? The main idea of a study is a generation new insight. It gives insight, that's fine. Many of the greatest books, they just end with epilogue. In fact, they don't have that type of conclusion at all. You're supposed to understand the influence by reading book. Why make it so easy for the reader? Now, I know this is not fashionable today. If you say all this, nobody will get funding. So that's why I
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
But that is true.
Yeah.
That's why it's a very useful.
I completely agree with you, sir. But I have to make some points, like you are saying that, what I believe that what is research, scientific research, you are inquiring into the reality of truth. you are talking about the validity and reliability of the fact. You are talking about observation. But I am not right now able to speak about this, the concern, but what I can tell you that, a theory means the problem has to be identified, and when you are identifying the problem, you have to solve it, and how you will solve it, you need methods to solve. I mean, my concern is that simple means there is no, that Subhajit, you told me that what are the follow, I am not following anything. Concern is very simple. If you have problem identified, you have to solve it. How you will solve it, it's up to you. It's up to the research scholar. What kind of measurement you are taking, what kind of methods, sir. I mean, I completely agree with our Mahesh sir that there is a problem in data, this particular word. The research is not data oriented. And the second word sir has told me about this, the relation between descriptive and explanatory research. I mean, how can, one fact, different manipulations may be there. But what you have talked about, sir, this Saeed Amin's case, completely.
Let me explain. What is the first thing you said? You said the task of the scientist to find out the truth. No.
Yeah.
It is simply to explain a phenomenon under observation, either at the conceptual level or at the descriptive level. See, this search for truth and very large concepts. Let's leave that aside. Then you said solve the problem. Research is not here to solve the problem. It's here to pose the question. It is not here to solve the problem. See, that is the job of engineers and technicians. This is a very serious matter. And that, by the way, is not how modern sciences move as far as I know. In the sciences today, they have a very much more sophisticated way nature works. This is, so my sense is, it is not our job to solve problems. It's our job to pose the question better. That is the job of research. Now, you are welcome to have a different.
Yeah, I completely have a different view, sir, because
there are no, but as a historian, then I had asked seriously, how can a historian solve a problem? Because I don't know any historian to solve the problem.
Yeah, you were right, sir. Means no one can know the complete picture of the past, because we cannot know about the complete picture of it, but we are intended to know about the facts. No one can talk about the past exactly what is happening in the past. But
see, any inquiry is part of a continuing source of history. Future people will also keep making mistakes. So why put so much burden on one person? We should worry about the burden on one person to find the truth. They will do it, then other people will tell us if you want. We are part of that capital.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. No, but that question is there. Even the critical research are posing the same question to scientific research, and they are questioning the credibility of research. What's going on? There is no objectivity of, the facts is there, the truth is there. They are questioning the regularity of result.
No, I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying this is a continuing process of study and discovery. That's it.
Yes, sir, definitely. I do agree with it, and so I would just say, research is something we have to add the new value to the established research, or we are challenging the existing research and presenting a new research. Research is all about adding value to the existing research. If you are not adding value, copy pasting, writing the same thing what that has been done before, this is not research, as I believe. And so any other question?
Sir, I want to just add something with sir actually. Actually the same thing which was basically bothered me also, because if you are answering a question, for a historian, if I answer a question, then the problem is that what will do my next generation. So I have to leave something for them so that they can also explore. That is the first thing. The second thing is that answering a problem, the problem is that in history problem is ever changing. Everyday problem is changing. So it is also very difficult for historians to actually answer a question. So it is basically what Sarah said. I just kind of repeating the same thing. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Sir.
So I think you two can have this discussion later. So I will now request Professor Adidas sir to come to the stage and give the vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Sir,
Thank you. Thank you.
you're very powerful.
Sir, please.
It's a really very good effort on the part of the history department, but I have this, very important task, I would say, of giving vote of thanks. And I must thank first our Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Sumit Rai, who is behind all kinds of academic endeavor which we have in Adamas University. And Professor Suranjan Das, who is Vice Chancellor, also one of the most noted historians which we have in India right now. And he is instrumental behind the idea of this workshop as well, and then getting speakers. So thank you, sir, for your great effort. Professor Shoran Bandyopadhyay hasn't come but has made good wishes, given good wishes. Thanks to him as well. And then our very valued speaker, Professor Mahesh Rangarajan. Sir, I used to listen to your great debates and all this in television, and also read your pieces in the newspapers. It's all very attractive, and I find your writings so very interesting. I'm an economist by profession, and I'm not a historian, but economic history is so much a very important part of economics, and we have serious differences in methodology with other social sciences, unfortunately so. And I have debates with my very valued colleagues in political science and history that there is a lack of methodology somehow. And they say that you are too much, talking about not social science but science, but you are a social science, you pose as a science, that's a big problem. And I would say, yes, we are a social science, yes, we pose as a science because methodologically that's the strongest, I would say, in establishing any hypothesis, and that's the core of anything. Any search for what Nirdosh was saying, truth, is to have hypothesis, repeatedly test it, and get it validated, make it theorem, if possible, and then counter the theorem and go on. That's life. Well, thank you, Rangarajan, for this. Professor Chakraborty, I know you from before, and you chaired the session. I missed that session anyway. I would have liked to, love to hear you. Professor Sarvani Dattagupta was speaker. I think she spoke online, and thanks to Professor Dattagupta for, I'm quite sure it was a very valuable talk. And then Shugata Nandi, Dr. Shugata Nandi, Associate Professor, Bengal State University. Thank you very much for coming here. And my very good friend Professor Tridip Chakraborty chaired a session. Thank you, Tridip, for coming and enlightening, I think, the panel. The panelists are all our, basically two of them are our colleagues, Nisha and Dr. Nisha Thakur and Dr. Boshudita Basu. And I always enjoy talking to them on history. So I guess all of you enjoyed. Thank you, Boshudita and Nisha. And Dr. Shubhajit Haldar. I guess I haven't met you after I came here, but I heard that you were here in Adamas at some time. Thank you, Dr. Haldar, for this. And then Dr. Nirdosh Kumar. I think he, spent a lot of effort to make it a success. And I thank Nirdosh because without such a person, such a devoted person, we cannot make any kind of workshop a success. So I have I thank Nirdosh for this kind of thing. And then I thank all the participants. And I'm quite, amazed that so many participants can come and listen. Because in economics we have a very terrible scenario. If we call people, they don't come. And why they don't come is very difficult to say. But sometimes we have real dilemma in calling people and holding such a workshop in fear that people will not come. But here the whole you know, the auditorium is full. This is such a grand, you know, scene for us, and I would say it's a grand success for this workshop. And thank you all of you, and thanks everybody, including all the staff, you know, academic staff, officers and others, non-academic staff who made this success. Thanks to all of you. Thank you all.